Hello and welcome everybody. Frank's Retirement Home bringing you the Fight Club of tonight. We are going to be doing the Walker Division. I'm going to be your host for tonight, Jiren Lamb, the one and only Breadloaf, and I am joined by Zombie Tantalus. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Jer. I was under the impression we weren't supposed to talk about Fight Club.
Well, it is the number one rule. It's also the number two rule. But the rule is, if it's your first night, and we all know how that turns out. Speaking of turning things out, we have a set that's going to turn out one way or the other. Who is going to be taking it tonight? We've got the Kaldrs Good Boys facing off against Gunshow Shoguns. This is going to be week number 1 of the Walker division. The first couple weeks normally is where you see some patterns start to evolve. Some teams don't find quite as much success, others find plenty. So far, though, they don't have that history in this season to run off of. You just got to go with the names and what you can expect from those teams. What do you think we're looking at here?
Well, bands that are coming out so far, pretty standard. On Her, really good right now. Um, with the On Her being banned, I'm assuming that they are playing for the Hachi on the first pick, potentially. Achilles ban. Achilles is a frigging monster right now, uh, which quite a few of the solos are.
I thought
But
Scylla was the monster.
Uh, tell that to the Achilles I've watched for a while. So
Thanatos.
we've got a Thanatos on the first pick. Also a very solid pick in jungle right now with Smite removing the class passives. You know, it was kind of mages and assassins that got hit the hardest. Mages lost that 60 power, and then assassins lost inherent pin in kit. Um, so the jungle build right now is kind of leaning towards like the Jotuns Brawlers double flat pin, and Thanatos gets free pin on his two. So I have been loving to see the Thanatos play here recently.
Not to mention having access to the hovering death to get over those walls, get into ganks really quickly, or if you need a convenient
King of
escape, both
Cerberus.
work. But the capability to really make those plays
Hachiman.
happen across all different levels of play can be a total game changer. So, in addition to having that penetration that other assassins may not have inherently in their kit, Thanatos has been skyrocketing, banned almost every game and ranked, if not picked, in every comp scene you'll see all over the map. And speaking of all over the map, Hachiman, just like you said, they were looking at that in the ADC role because you said Hachiman was going to be picked after the
Kuzenbo.
on her ban. Talk to me a little bit more about why you like that pick there.
Hachi is just obnoxiously strong. Um, you know, the hunter builds are kind of gravitating right now towards a 100% crit chance. And the stem that he's got on his one, if you're hitting at a 100% crit chance, you're already doing a massive amount of damage, and that's just adding to it. Add to that, you know, he's got the dash on his three. He's got the CC immunity and the long range
Osiris.
get out with the mounted archery. The god's extremely safe. He has decent lane pressure and has crazy late game damage. There's a reason that he's been prioed at number one for a while now coming out of the carry role.
So already we know exactly how that carry matchup is going to go. Hachiman, pretty much a fan favorite, it feels like at this point. Everybody loves me playing Hachiman lately. One I haven't seen as much recently since we saw the new patch come out, Chernobog in the other ADC role. We also know, presumably, the support matchup, Kuzenbo going against the Kerberos. Talk to me a little bit more about how you think the whole dual lane as a whole is going to turn out with that.
Uh, Honestly, that's going to come down to kind of how they play the lane. So outright, Cerberus and Chernobog should have pressure in that duo lane. Uh, On the other hand, there is a world where Kuzenbo waits for Cerberus to commit the two on the
Janus.
wave clear and just pushes him off a bit. They could find pressure, but outright, Cerberus and Chernobog should have the lane pressure.
So you're expecting to see quite a bit of extra pressure coming from the side of the Gunshow Shoguns, looking to show off a little bit of their own guns in force. But we also see a couple other picks. They dropped the Osiris as their final in the top three for the Gunshow Shoguns, and then banned out the Bologna and Nike, looking for that auto-attack,
Kukulkan.
high-pressure solo laner. What do you think can be done by the Kaldrs Good Boys to return some of that pressure?
Well, as the solo lane
Hercules.
stands right now, I don't mind the Hercules pick here. So, like, Osiris, Bologna, Nike are kind of your top three go-to. Um, I feel like he picked the Hercules here maybe for some setup survivability because you're not about to win lane
Maman
into an Osiris.
Brigitte.
Not in an even skill matchup. Osiris is an outright lane bully, and the auto attack solos are kind of going nuts right now. We just saw Maman get locked in almost last, or actually, I think it was last.
The final pick of this match, Mama and Brigitte presumably going to be that jungler with Giannis in the mid lane. We've got Kuku Khan on the other side, though. Giannis and Kuku have been very prevalent mid laners recently. So now that we've seen the entire draft, I see a lot of pressure coming out from Hercules, Thanatos, very well known for kind of bullying that early game, get the lead. But you were predicting for Calder's Good Boys, they would lose that pressure over in the duo lane. Overall, though, which side of this draft are you leaning towards so far?
I think it's going to depend on how. I think it's going to depend on support play here because Thanatos dives into Chernobog into Giannis. That's going to be a problem. Cerberus does not have a lot in the way of peel. So I think it's going to come down to how they play these team fights and whether they can keep Giannis and Chernobog alive. Because outright, I kind of like the Cuckoo. I really like the Thana. I love the Hachi. And you've got two massive front lines to go right along with it. Um, I like that draft a little better.
To me, overall, it looks like the entire draft from Gunshow Shoguns, it just screams to me getting in there. Chernobog just ulting into the backline. You can choose anybody you want, really. Being able to go across the map with that global ult. Cerberus, a very aggressive support. Giannis has the ability to go through space and time, through the walls, and through your backline. Mom and Brigitte, obviously, very heavy on that dive, especially with that dash. Just hiding in the enemy, buying so much time. And then Osiris, speaking for himself, with that dive potential. It really screams to me from Gunshow Shoguns. They're getting in there, they're diving you, and they're taking somebody out. My question to you is, do you think the Calder's Good Boys has either the counter dive potential, or do you think they have the ability to really survive all of that pressure in team fights and return it twofold?
I mean, there's always the potential. Absolutely. The other thing that this draft screams to me is rotations. Um, it is impossible to out rotate Chernobog, and it is near impossible to out rotate Giannis. Uh, they have the ability to put three people anywhere on the map in an instant. The only thing they're missing here is Athena. So, they can absolutely rotate. The one thing that I'd be kind of concerned about is that Cuckoo. Kukulkan's ability to zone a team fight with that tornado uh, can make diving potentially difficult.
That it certainly can. Now, another thing is, Cuckoo also has Spirit of the Nine Winds. So if they get caught out in a jungle fight and you find that thin little walkway where you can just drop the ult, that's just bowling pins waiting to happen at that point, I feel like. Because if you can just survive the dive long enough to drop that, hit one, maybe two people with it, that's the type of ability that turns a fight on its head. So overall, I'm really gonna be watching out for if they can keep the Hachi and Cuckoo alive, and additionally, can Herc and Thanatos do enough of the work of their own diving the enemy backline, if the backline is still there, that is, to really just take them out before that danger can apply to them. My question at this stage, though, is we've seen the draft. We're assuming that they have that sort of plan, or at least we can only presume when you have a global and a semi global ultimate like that, they're going to dive. What do you think is really going to be the critical mass moment of this game? Is it going to be the early game pressure, or are you looking at mid game team fights or those late drawn out fights?
I think for the Shoguns, your win con here is achieving early dominance and snowballing. Um, so the reason that we've seen so much Kukulkan, so much Scylla, um, some of these specific mid laners is because they have inherent power. So, I talked about how the mages lost that class passive. They lost 60 power, which at this point is, damn near a whole item. Kukulkan, Scylla, a couple of the other mid laners, they have inherent power in their kits. Kukulkan gets it from mana, so we're going to see the Book of Thoth. Scylla gets it from upgrading the abilities to 5. So I think for the Shoguns, you want to dominate the early here with the pressure and have that snowball into the mid game. For the good boys, on the other hand, I think your win con here is to survive the early game because you have the Hachi and you have the Kukulkan. You scale better into the late game. So if you can survive the early, it's going to be difficult to fight them.
So you think of it as more of a ticking time bomb for Kaldrs Good Boys late game popping off. It's a very, very interesting thought, and actually, I think that'll be very fun to watch. But for now, it's time to get into game number 1. Let's get this bread. We'll start off relatively slower in the dual lane. As they meet, we haven't seen a whole lot of action. Cerberus is taking quite a bit of poke and getting pushed all the way back into the minion. Stun not quite on the mark. Is going to force out the Horrific Emblem, trying to slow them down. Cerberus is still very, very low. A couple autos would do it. Kuzmo trying to wrap her on the side. Cooldown's not in time. The jump will be good to try and escape Turtle. Going to poke a little bit more under tower. But for now, Patriot will survive, and the Nationalism will keep him going, even if his body wants to go home and take a nap.
That was a little close for comfort. Oh, boy.
Speaking of close, Thanatos going in for that early pressure. Finds it. Twig getting first blood of game number 1. And the infamous Thanatos early game will be too much for that Maman Brigitte pick.
That's something I didn't quite touch on, because the one spot where the good boys really do have early pressure is Than.
Flail not quite on the mark, not a big deal. Will not be able to find another kill. So for now, Hercules will be able to keep his life, but still gonna have to be very, very careful, because Osiris may have some meaty auto attacks, but those abilities can still hurt, especially with those procs on Axe.
Yeah, Osiris is a difficult thing to fight into, although Thanatos looks like he wants it.
Looking for an aggressive posture, especially with the meteor just landing. But right now, looks like Thanatos more interested in getting some farm, just relieving the pressure on the Hercules for now. On the other side, though, we see a little bit of a scuffle over the Naga that spawned on the teleporter. Kaldrs Good Boys do manage to secure it. take a little bit of poke, but not before returning some onto the Gunshow Shoguns. And for now, at least, looks like they will be able to survive, just clearing wave, trading some damage.
Yeah, and Cerberus, because of his health, is having to play pretty far back here, which is why you're seeing Kaldrs good boys with so much lane pressure.
Bush will not find the stun off the dash, but Jungle Scrub does manage to get a little bit of damage, but so does Captain. Falling very low, also low on mana. Both supports are going to have to be backing here very, very soon. Hachiman, on the other hand, still having plenty of health compared to half on the Chernobog as purple buff spawns. Luckily, though, for Gunshow Shoguns, no jungle in sight right now to go for that purple buff invade.
Yeah, the supports are playing that pretty close. I don't know, man. 100 health is just a little bit less than I am comfortable sticking around in lane and throwing abilities with.
Here comes the Hovering Death. Cuckoo rotates over in. Scooby Daddy Doo poised to drop an ability. Tornado will not be on the mark. Hovering Death does find the beads. Beard of the Nine Winds will not find the kill, but Thanatos still trying to go in. Pops the beads to escape from the root, but not in time to find the kill. And Fried Ice Cream managed to keep his life at the cost of his beads. Does manage to get the green and purple buffs, but definitely going to have to be more wary of those rotations next time around. And hope for you, for the Gunshow Shoguns, they can get a ward up soon.
Yeah, that was really well played by the Chernobog. You know, going into the wall to try and, you know, hang out that ult. It ended up very well for him. Good restraint coming from Twig there. Because I know as a longtime player, that had to be tempting to run it into the tower.
Bright Ice Cream falling very low is going to be forced to jump up into the ult. Stygian Torment will come out. Explosion of Souls. Trying to find a little bit of something. Chernobog rotates over to the mid lane, will fall to the tower. Tried to get there, but unfortunately, Jungle Scrub will still get credit for that kill. Tower getting the assist. That will now be 2-0 for the boys in blue. Gunshow Shoguns, their early game, not feeling as great as they would want. Mom and Brigitte looking to find it, though. Here it comes, Lord of the Afterlife, not quite on the mark. Explosion of Soul is going in, trying to find more damage, but Hercules so tanky. Iso trying to get there, but not able to find the damage boulder from Herc. Not enough to find a return kill. Here comes Thanatos, Hovering Death coming in.
Oh, brother.
Both nearby, finds one, execute, looking for the second. Scythe will be good. Twig on the double. And that will be a beautiful return on the solo pressure. Great heads-up play from Twig.
Great play there. You know, certain gods, it feels horrible to have them ahead. And Thanatos is very high on that list. You know, the god already does a lot of damage just from the inherent flat pin and the scaling on his one, like, that scythe swings. But a Thanatos from a level or two ahead, it can be dangerous. Shoguns are going to have to watch out.
Maybe dangerous, maybe outright terrifying. But 3-0 in the first 6 minutes for the jungler, that's got to be a great feeling for Kaldrs good boys, especially on a character that's so renowned for that early pressure. Somebody like Thanatos, you really have to be careful for that. Gunshow Shoguns, not off to the most ideal start so far. They still have plenty of time to try and claw back into it, though. Gold lead only about 1,000, though, for all of that lead that we're talking about.
Yeah, which that tells you that the Shoguns, while getting killed occasionally, are farming well.
Hovering Death not quite on the mark, evaded by the dash, but not enough to save you. Jungle Scrub picks up Fried Ice Cream with the help of the jungle and support, getting an assist. He comes through space in time to deal some damage right back, though, as well as the Mom and Brigitte coming in to help, forcing out the CC Immune ult, trying to escape the Captain, running away as the rest of Gunshow Shoguns show up to help their ADC, who is no longer there. And unfortunately, they will not find revenge this time around, especially with Scooby Daddy Doo rotating over from mid along with his lane opponent. But so far, the Cuckoo does have a little bit of an experienced lead on the Giannis, So it's not going to feel too bad.
Jungle Scrub was doing his best Zapman impersonation there. I don't know how many of you have watched a lot of Zaps games, casuals, ranked, whatever, but if there's a Giannis ult on the field, it's going to find its way into his face.
That sounds like Barracuda, too. Both of them have
You're
done
not
that.
wrong.
Forcing the beads off of Scooby Daddy-Doo, though. Here comes Patriot to try and bring some damage, finding quite a lot under the Kuzenbo, but so is that support falling low as well. Both of them. Here comes the blink stun, not quite on the mark for ISO. Gets pushed under the tower, gonna have to dash away. Portal from Giannis onto the Cuckoo will buy some extra time. So the Gunshow Shoguns may not have found the kill, but they do get to keep their own life instead.
That was unfortunate. The bottle throw from Maman, that it couldn't have been more than an inch short to stun the Kuz. That was unfortunate.
It's gotta be one of those things where on your screen you swear it looks like it hit, but everybody around you saying no, it was wide. I've been in that situation too many times, and man,
I was in that situation last night. Playing
so
relegations on a Thanatos, and I swore to every god there is that like I hit the execute. Apparently I did not. It happens to the best of us.
especially unfortunate when just barely missing that stun means that ISO got pushed under tower. Luckily,
Yeah.
though, ISO still lived. Still got plenty of time to try and correct from that mistake and move on. But so far, now that we're entering about 9.5 minutes in, looking at the builds, is there anything you see that's interesting, out of the ordinary, or something you think is noteworthy?
Not particularly. You know, the ADC builds right now they're all over the place, man. There's like 6 of them. And everybody swears that theirs is the best. You know, we notice the one thing I would kind of say is noteworthy here, if we look at the Hachi and the Churn, oh boy.
Then Twig picks up the Critter over in mid lane, but forcing out the mounted archery early will be enough to try and run away. Explosion of Souls not in time to catch any damage. Jungle Scrub will have to burn beads and ult, but will be able to survive, possibly at the cost of purple buff, but it looks like ISO is more interested in what happened over in the mid lane with the Giannis falling, and then as well the Cerberus falling extremely low on HP. Here comes Twig around the backside, not quite finding the scythe, does find the sounds, but here comes Chernabog forcing out the Hovering Death very early. As we see in the solo lane, Grizzle gets a solo kill through space and time coming through, hoping to try and catch something. Not going to be quite on the mark this time. Hovering Death just a little bit too quick.
You know, considering he was flying through the air in his ult, that Giannis ult was only, you know, 10, 20 feet off. That was pretty close, all things considered.
It was relatively close, given the movement speed.
So the one thing I want to bring attention to with the carry builds, you know, we noticed that the Chernabog has went Cowl, and Hachi has went Gilded. Now, what the Cowl says to me is that Chernabog is looking at an attack speed stem build. You know, going into the Silver Branch, the Kinsai, which, you know, I feel is a very viable build. Especially if you've got 2 large tanks, kind of like Hercules. You know, I don't hate that build at all. Because if you run crit into that Hercules and he builds a Spectral, you know, he's literally gaining power while he's beating the snot out of you. It's not a fun time. So I am expecting to see the Hachi go into the crit here. Rest of the builds across the board, though, look pretty standard.
Right before Beacon spawns, ISO burning the blink to try and find the stun onto Scooby-Doo under the tower. Won't be successful, but that's going to be a very valuable piece that's going to be missing from this team fight. Cuckoo finds a lot of damage with that tornado, but here comes Hovering Death around the back, does find some damage, finds the kill on the Critter, and 1 down. Spirit of the Nine wins, not going to be quite on the mark, but definitely forces them back under tower as ISO falling very low. Scooby picks it up with the tornado, and now 2-0. Kaldrs Good Boys are going to be able to secure that Stygian Beacon and get the Stygian Barrage first in this match.
I would like to see the good boys make a call for gold here. You know, you got the beacon, you've got 2 kills. This is where you start thinking about maybe pulling some of these bigger objectives. Gold lead's sitting around 3K now, so they're getting it built up. And, you know, the pregame analysis is kind of out the window at this point. The good boys are not struggling at all in this early game. And I do feel like a lot of that is in thanks to Thanatos.
Once again, the Thanatos strikes again, now on a rampage. And going back to what you mentioned, that pregame analysis of the early game of Shogun is really coming in. Apparently, we just failed to consider the fact of Thanatos.
It's an easy mistake to make. Oh no!
BC did find a solo kill earlier onto the Osiris, but this time it's Osiris' turn as now ISO finally finds that kill onto Scooby Daddy Doo, but not before Captain can return it. Here comes Mounted Archery around the corner to try and find something back onto Critter, looking for some damage. Not quite able to find a kill as Turnabog rotates around as well. Both the ADCs here now in mid. Not going to be able to get out. Captain being dragged back in Unstable Vortex, doing a lot of damage push to try and find some safety. Without health or mana, just have to run away and hope it's enough, but no!
Oh.
Through space, through time, and right through the back of your head, Critter has gotten the kill.
There it went. That was the thing.
Now rotating over, Grizzle has TP'd in, throwing the boulder early to try and find some damage on to Fried Ice Cream, but manages to find safety under the tower, but not before Hovering Death comes out, trying to bait out the beads. Not successful, does get it under the tower, though, looking for the kill, but taking a lot of damage to the tower. Watch out! Fried Ice Cream shuts him down. Jungle Scrub does find the return onto the enemy ADC. But for now, Grizzle is really deep under tower, and with 3 chasing him, gonna have to try and run away. Already down to half HP, trying to escape from ISO, finding the dash in to try and get ahead of him, slowing him down, body blocking. Here comes the Porter looking for the stun, does find it. ISO picks it up with the help of Critter. That will be a big kill for the backline mages of Gunshow Shoguns.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking for Scooby to start getting involved here, moving around the map. You know, you've got the Book of Thoth online, you've got the Divine Ruin online. You've got a pretty solid lead built up at this point. He's got the T2 book for his 3rd item, and you know, honestly, I don't know what he's going to go into here. You could make an argument for damn near any item in that tree. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a Poly or a Reaver. Tablet 3rd item would be a little nuts. You know, Tablet not really benefiting from the stacking changes as the rest of the item roster. But, you know, Cuckoo, we saw it sort of on that first beacon fight. The zoning potential of that tornado just cannot be overstated.
It really cannot. And just the ability to force them off of beacon alone really turned it around for Kaldrs Good Boys. It's such a big circle to be dropping that lasts so long, and it really was impactful. But now we see, here comes Hovering Death over in the duo lane, does manage to dash out of the stun. Fried Ice Cream walking back to the safety tower, but not before ISO can run in, try and get some damage onto Twig, trying to find the dash, does get in, forcing the Mountain Archery. Jungle Scrub trying to run away, but ISO finds the Explosion of Souls, gets the kill on the Twig. Here comes the support to try and buy some time, knocking everybody up, trying to find the push under tower. ISO barely lives, Patriot finds 1 kill, not before Beastie can return it onto ISO. Now 2v3 on the left side. Does find a nice stun for the Osiris, but forced under tower, Service is going to have to jump back out. But a nice double root coming out from the Chernabog, while a through space and time comes in just a second late to find the kill, forcing another push under tower, but Spirit of the Nine Winds will not quite connect this time. Scooby Daddy Doo gonna have to play very back. 1 unstable vortex could turn this around. Kaldrs Good Boys falling a little bit lower on the health, and it looks like Gunshow Shoguns have got what they came for, and a lot of damage onto that Hercules. It's now going to be a Gold Fury call. Gunshow Shoguns started up, dropping now to about half HP before the Good Boys can get in there. Thanatos not close enough. trying to get in there in time. But the tanks from Kaldrs Good Boys buy more than enough of that. Thanatos now coming in with that hovering death, forcing Patriot to get out of dodge. Looking for fried ice cream. Not going to find what he's looking for. The twig will go ahead and just land back safely. As the beacon does come up, Scooby Daddy Doo sees that as the prize. Meanwhile, the rest of Kaldrs Good Boys looking at the Gold Fury at the same time. Looking to try and leash it. Maybe bait the Gunshow Shoguns into showing their hands a little bit too early. But they're not going to jump the trigger just yet. So the Gold Fury looks to stay alive just a little bit longer.
Yeah, if I'm the Shoguns here, before I pull this gold, I am definitely looking to get a pick. You have decent secure with the through space and time, but like betting against Tom Brady in playoffs, I'm not betting against a Kukulkan ult. I'm just not.
That is also very true. Both the mages have very solid secure options. You know exactly what you're getting when you drop that Spirit of the Nine Winds, but the good news for Gunshow Shoguns, through space and time, it goes through that map. You can hit the Fire Giant from literally anywhere as long as you aim it correctly. So you can have some
And
serious
time
skill
it.
potential. Well,
Maybe
time it,
the
yeah.
more important part.
True, but if you sling it wide and it ends up hitting blue buff, then, well, I guess you're not securing it either way, but the important part is you don't have to stand directly
That
next
blue buff
to
had
Fire
a bad day.
It did. It's like those poor fish in a barrel in that analogy. It's just not a fun time for anyone there. But
The
Kaldrs Good Boys,
making the call for the gold.
they seem to have a good time on the Gold Fury. They have the Kukulkan nearby. Spirit of the Nine Winds is available, so Scooby-Doo is just going to have to drop it at the right moment. Teleport trying to come out, looking to try and find the steal. Kaldrs Good Boys will secure the Gold Fury. Take quite a bit of damage. Captain Good of You falling very low through space and time. Finding some damage onto the ADC. Twick will fall to ISO. As now Hercules getting dragged back in by the Cerberus, getting slowed, prot shreds across the board. Scooby Daddy Doo is the only one here left alive, forcing the Aegis out. Beads as well as Jungle Scrub tries to run away from Fried Ice Cream. But in the mid lane, Hercules falling very low as ISO takes a lot of damage from tier 2 tower as well. They're going to have to be very careful, and their possibilities of pulling the Pyromancer are starting to slip away slowly
All
the
right,
more damage
look.
they take.
I'm gonna need somebody to check on Bera, because it would appear that like him or Zap may have died, and are inhabiting Jungle Scrub's body. Because that's yet another space and time that found its way into his face from miles off around a corner. Unfortunate.
And it seems to only be the ADC that it's happening to.
Absolutely, yeah. It only hit him. It was fired at 5 people. He wasn't even there, and it hit him in the face around the corner. It's a terrible feeling, man. It's terrible.
It seems Jungle Scrub is catching the feeling of that poor blue buff. It just seems to be that type of day, or at least this type of game. Fortunately, though, for Jungle Scrub, aside from the unfortunate ults connecting all the time, does seem to be much more comfortable sitting at the top of the damage lobby. Also 3-1-1 on the scoreboard. So far, a very solid game for Jungle Scrub. Consistent performance, able to get to whatever team fight they need to, being able to match some of those rotations from Fried Ice Cream, even being there first sometimes, and the objective damage still present. Gotta be a good feeling.
Yeah, and you know we've seen it a few times now. You know, I at the pregame I talked about like the survivability of Hachiman, and we've seen it a few times now. That mounted archery has gotten him out of 2 or 3 situations here where any other hunter in the game snuffs it. But because he's Hachi, he gets out of it. Oh no!
And speaking of, there it goes, mounted archery getting away from the portal. Get that critter, will not be able to get that kill. So this time, Jungle Scrub will once again be safe from a gank, all the way back to the safety of tower. ISO not willing to give it up just yet, but also not willing to just run underneath that tower. Now, one thing I find very, very interesting, sometimes people like to hold on to their initial glyphs a little bit longer. ISO seems absolutely attached to that Horn Shard.
I it be like that sometimes.
The cooldown
Um,
is that valuable, it seems.
you know, it can be big. It can be really big, especially.
Speaking of, here
Oh,
comes ISO following the Thanatos through the hovering death, just going to land right in the middle of the team, trying to escape from the damage. Blinks away. Here comes Spirit of the Night and Winds to separate the fight. ISO continuing to try and find the kill onto Twig. Will not be able to find it. Fried Ice Cream does find BC McGrizzle, though, as the rest of the team now trying to dive. Here comes the Thorns from the captain to try and find some extra time. Scooby Daddy Doo now half HP, trying to run away, forced to use the Aegis as the captain falls very low, trying to run away, but not able to. Fried Ice Cream picks up the second of the fight, but forced to burn the Aegis on that Kukulkan Tornado. Scooby Daddy Doo doing tons of damage in that fight, now soaring to the top of the damage chart. It seems to be only a matter of time before a single tornado is just going to remove any green from your health bar.
that was spectacular peel from Captain there for that Thanatos. I just been in situations like that in a game where somebody gets out at that kind of health, and I mean, it's maddening.
Blink for the Scythe will be good. Twig finds the kill on to get that critter, but ISO here to find the return. Explosion of Souls will do the job. And now 4 chasing down Jungle Scrub, trying to escape. They don't have quite as much chase down potential. Popping that Horn Shard for the cooldowns, trying to find some extra damage. That Fiery Breath doing quite a lot. The stun gonna be good, but here it comes the Hercules, the hero of Thanatos this time around. Here comes the Mounted Archery in. Boulder trying to find the damage, will not be successful. Jungle Scrub taking a lot of damage. Spirit of 9 Winds finds a knock up, but not a kill. Patriot going around the backside. Kaldrs Good Boys not going to be chasing him. They got their eyes on that low health bar. Here comes the captain, knocking them up, forcing them all around, not able to try and run away. Good knock up onto the Chernobog, but not able to find the dash. BC now trying to tank some of the damage. Getting horrific, though. Patriots find a lot of time with the help of Not a Big Deal. Finds a nice double stun to keep them there a little bit longer, so the rest of the team can survive. Kaldrs Good Boys, though, they're not willing to drop the chase just yet. Here comes Through Space and Time, cuts up the team fight a little bit, forcing them to back off. But Patriot still taking a ton of damage, but BC now caught out, taking a lot of damage, now down to half HP, but the Tornado cuts them off, doing so much damage. Patriot's gonna have to back, but BC falling very low, caught by the portal. Meanwhile, Lord of the Afterlife in the back finds one, Not a Big Deal. Will have the help. ISO gets the second. Scooby Daddy Doo does return it on to Not a Big Deal as Patriot tries to run away. Hovering Death! Twig has found the support. Scooby Daddy Doo forced into the alternate timeline, trying to run away from ISO, but the Tornado doing plenty of the work for him. But the stun will be good, and ISO has another kill. The Scooby Daddy Doo will finally fall this time. Overall, 3 now dead on Kaldrs Good Boys, but only 2 for Gunshow Shoguns. But without the tanks, Gunshow Shoguns is not going to be looking at an objective just yet.
This Mammon is going nuts for the Shoguns right now. ISO is putting on something of a clinic here in these jungle fights. You know, that last engagement, he played it so well. You got the alternate timeline out from the Cuckoo. Whoever thought of that item, may their socks be forever wet. But you've got it out of the Cuckoo now. The Cuckoo's only got Aegis up as his relic. You know, one thing you do in comp and ranked and higher level play, you keep track of these timers. If they're keeping track of this timer, Cuckoo is a free kill right now.
They have plenty of ways to get there, but Gunshow Shoguns looking to go ahead and dive the Oni Fury really quick. Not even going to see a little bit of contest from the Kaldrs Good Boys. Either they didn't know or they didn't want to step up. Fire Giant and Pyromancer both still on the board. Kaldrs Good Boys do have some decent ward vision on that side of the map, and it looks like they're going to run right over to the Pyromancer, try and drop it before those Oni spark. Actually, they're going right at the Fire Giant. They're going for the money. They have their eyes on the prize, and now Gunshow Shoguns, it's up to them to try and get there. Patriot blinks in, dropping the ult, only finds one, though, and taking a lot of damage. Going to be caught in the middle, through space and time, finds damage onto Twig, finds the kill onto Patriot, though. Now looking to try and escape with that really key bar. Hovering Death not available, so going to have to be very, very cautious. Fire Giant now down quarter HP, falling very low. Explosion of Souls going in. Kaldrs Goodboys do find it, but Twig falls to ISO. And now the PO from the captain try and get the team out as Grizzle finds extra space for them in the backline. Falls to Fried Ice Cream. Now the blink coming out from ISO does find the stun onto Jungle Scrub, doing a lot of damage, forces the Aegis out already. Here comes Straight of the 9 wins, barely evaded by the dash. Jungle Scrub falls to Not a Big Deal coming in behind. The captain falls to Fried Ice Cream for the double kill, while the Oni minions push up all 3 lanes. Tier 2 tower in mid, almost down. The Tier 2s on the sidelines falling very low, but ISO falling very low to that Zephyr from Scooby Daddy Doo. Single digit health almost, gonna have to get out of dodge immediately. And Scooby Daddy Doo will be the only remaining member with Fire Giant around their belt.
This is a picture-perfect representation of that old that old Thanos meme that was going around years ago. What did it cost? Everything. You got the fire, but you lost almost everybody for it. You know,
even worse, they couldn't find the return picks off of it.
Yeah, there were some low health bars on the Shoguns for sure. You know, you do still have Kukulkan with fire, and he's got a poly. You do still have the potential to push some towers out of it. You know, one thing to kind of pay attention to here, this build that Hachi is going, it is a very strong build, but it is not going to come online until it's full.
The rage not quite finished, yeah.
You know, once he gets this Deathbringer and the Glyph, the Hachi is going to be probably the hardest hitting thing on the map. But that build is very expensive. You know, with the exception of Exi, you're paying upwards of 2,500 plus for every item on it. You know, it's expensive, it's hard to get online, but once you do, it feels great.
And especially since we're just about at that 30-minute mark. So all of these builds are going to be started, all of these builds are going to be finished, and whatever items you have are either getting the last tier 3 item, and then you're getting ready to buy a 3k pot here in the near future. And especially when Not a Big Deal has that Axe of Animosity that's just been doing so much work lately, and Hercules doesn't even have a finished Prophetic. It's really going to be in the court of Gunshow Shoguns with their gold lead. But now Patriot taking quite a bit of damage, but Patriot has been able to buy enough time. Captain taking quite a bit of return damage in its place, but Jungle Scrub over on the left side trying to go for the split push, but here comes the rest of the team through space and time. Will not be what they're looking for. Fried Ice Cream picking up the enemy ADC, and without an ADC, you may have gotten them to burn 2 of those very valuable ultimates, and also an Aegis, but here comes the blink from Patriot, gonna force Captain back in. Fear of the 9 wins, not able to connect, not finding the kill for hovering death, just off the mark, barely dodged by the jump. Patriot trying to run away now. The captain falls very low. ISO picks up 1. Scooby Daddy does return the kill, finds the shutdown finally. BC trying to run away. Fried Ice Cream picks up Twig now, and there's just 2 left alive for the Kaldrs Goodboys against 4 of the Gunshow Shoguns. Thorns coming out to try and buy some extra damage, but the stun will be good. Not a Big Deal finds the kill. Kuhu Tornadoes are very much a problem though. Olibrock's not able to find the kill onto Not a Big Deal, but enough to get him to back as Cuckoo's now running at Critter. Gonna have to run away, and with that alternate timeline finally coming back online, Scooby Daddy Doo will have to hold the line a little bit longer as Gunshow Shoguns gonna pick up the Primal Fury.
Yeah, you know, great fight there. Great fight from the Shoguns. You know, I think if Fan hits that Cerberus with the execute, that, you know, that fight goes a little differently. The good news for both teams out of this, however, is that with the timer on the Fire Giant, nobody is going to be down for the fire spawn. You've still got your whole team. You know, that's something I was gonna say when Hachi, you know, first got picked over on that tower. Is like, yeah, that sucks. You don't have your ADC. However, timer on fire still had 2 minutes at that point, so you know he's gonna be up for it. Through
Through
space and time.
being launched over to Gold Fury will find Twig, almost gets the kill. Raven Ward will spot them out, but Kaldrs Good Boys still find the Gold Fury, but Fire Giant has already been started. This is EFG. This is not something you want to lose. Daddy2 is in the area, just waiting to drop that Spirit of the Nine Winds to try and go for the steal. Grizzle trying to buy some extra time, keep their eyes off of his mid laner. As Fire Giant falling very low, it's falling extremely low. Spirit of the Nine Winds is good for the steal. Grizzly finally falling low, trying to run away from ISO, trying to escape the damage, gonna have to dash away, and they still manage to live. Kaldrs Good Boys have survived the steal. Fire Giant on all 5. Hovering Death coming in, finds a lot of damage onto Ice Cream, will force the beads. Not able to find the kill though. That's quite all right. That Hovering Death is going to come up much sooner than the beads, and now Patriot is trying to slow them down on the Pyromancer. Will not find any success with it, and Kaldrs Good Boys, just like that, have turned this on its head.
Yeah, you know, I touched on this earlier, how I just don't think the Shoguns should try and 50-50 with the Kukulkan on the field, and we see it there. You are not out securing 9 wins in that tornado. You just aren't. Unfortunate. It was a great call. Great call. Really heads-up play from the Shoguns to pull that fire. You know, they saw the Fury go down, realized that the whole other team was gone. Just unfortunate.
Being burned by Captain as he gets pulled back in, almost under Phoenix. But Gunshow Shoguns have plenty of damage on him. Force the ult, force Captain to back away. And without their support, Kaldrs Good Boys are going to have to rethink exactly how they're going to be pushing with this EFG. Do they let their support back and just take down that tier 2 tower in mid? Or do they try and press the issue? It looks like they prioritize keeping their support alive a little bit longer. Instead, looking at the tier 2 in mid. Grizzle going in, taking a fair amount of damage. Explosion of Souls finds a good knock-up. A lot of damage coming out onto Twig through space and time. Not quite on the mark. Spirit of the Nine Winds finds 1. Finds quarter of the health, but not a big deal as the Captain trying to run away. Slowed again and again, but able to try and dash away. Patriot trying to get in there. Lord of the Afterlife does go in to try and find the kill. Grizzle will not be able to find enough time. Not a big deal. Will end up falling. Twig forced to pop Hovering Death early. Will have to escape. Tries to wrap around, find a kill, but not a big deal. Pops the Thorns. Does manage to convince him to head out. And after 1 pick just on the support, Kaldrs Good Boys are going to be going back in, trying to stop the back, getting in there. They do get the blink out of Grizzly, but Gunshow Shogun still very low, and EFG is plenty of sustain for the Kaldrs Good Boys. ISO on the back, has the blink available, going in around the back, looking for Explosion of Souls. Won't quite connect, but the bird does still go down. Finds a kill onto Twig, looking for the return. Jungle Scrub does find it onto ISO. Grizzle will survive, but a lot of damage from Unstable Vortex after Jungle Scrub goes in with mounted archery. Safety not available now. With half HP, that Unstable Vortex could be a death sentence. You get 1 bird, but Kaldrs Good Boys don't seem to be satisfied with it fully. They're looking for a second now on the left.
This
Two of
feels
them at half
greedy.
HP. It is going to be very ambitious. Trying going in there. Teleporting in from the portal. Not a big deal. Going to be right on the ADC. Going to be dropping very low. Patriot gets credit for the kill because he's fallen less than quarter HP on the bird. Gonna have to try and run away from 4. Spirit of the Nine Winds finds a knockup on not a big deal. Does not find the kill though, and can only slow down the inevitable death awaiting Grizzle as Patriot finds the double kill. Scooby Daddy forced to pop the beads though as friendly Ice Cream comes in from downtown. Fire minions are pouring down the mid lane, but with only 2 people alive for Kaldrs Good Boys, they're gonna be on the back foot for a minute.
Yeah, the Good Boys played that so well right up until that left Phoenix call. You know, health bars weren't full in the first place. You're down a man. The whole enemy team's up. You know, maybe next time sometimes you gotta just take the win.
It looks like Gunshow Shogun's going straight for the Oni Fury, but here comes Severing Death around the back. ISO does find Twig. Oni Fury still being leashed, will end up being dropped. Gunshow Shogun's pick it right back up. They're going to be able to find it, now trying to escape. Scooby Daddy Doo falling quarter HP, trying to get some help from the Captain to slow them down, but won't be enough. Explosion of Souls finds that unstable damage. Unfortunately, ISO will still get credit for the kill on the Scooby-Doo even through that alternate timeline. And right now, it is 2 tanks and an ADC and a dream for Kaldrs Good Boys, with fire minions going to be pouring down all 3 lanes. The push down mid is going to be coming very soon, and Gunshow Shoguns, with the Stygian Barrage, finally take down that left tier 2 tower. Do find quite a bit of damage onto ISO, plucking him under the bird. Going to have to dash away from that boulder. That's going to be quite a lot of damage onto the jungle, but unfortunately, Fire Giant is just now spawning in with 2 people down for Kaldrs Good Boys. Gunshow Shoguns are sitting in a much better position for this one.
Yeah, you know, we talked about in the pregame about why we're seeing so much Kukulkan and Scylla, and you know, if you have any questions about that, I'd just like to refer you to our damage chart. Nothing is even in the realm of this Kukulkan.
And another thing that's really a drastic change, look at the Thanatos. Was 5-0 early on this game, now 8-8, only at 17,000 on the player damage charts. That early game pressure from Twig is not quite the same as his late game presence so far. And for Kaldrs Good Boys, for all the plays that they're trying to make and how much Jungle Scrub is trying to do for the team, and just it's impossible to state how much damage Scooby is doing right now. All of that effort can only do so much when you have 4 members of Gunshow Shoguns that high up on the damage charts putting in the work.
Yeah, you know, and that goes to show you that you absolutely can, you know, do it with team play, because that's what that is right there. You see those 4 members just neck and neck. That's great team play.
Speaking of team play, it's really a big fight around Fire Giant now. Falling a little bit less than full HP. Not a big deal, taking a fair amount of poke. Their mid Phoenix is back up. Kaldrs Good Boys trying to keep the pressure up on them. Minions do find some damage on Phoenix, but a lot more damage on to not a big deal. Twig blinking in, trying to find the kill, does get him under execute threshold, but Lord of the Afterlife popped a little bit too early. Twig finds the kill, but ISO around the back forces out the beats with Explosion of Soul, trying to get in there. Captain buys plenty of time. Spirit of the Nine wins, finds ISO, almost gets the kill instantly. Scooby-Doo picks up 1, Patriot falling very low, trying to escape and buy time for his backliner. Just trying to buy a little bit more time to keep Kaldrs Good Boys at bay, but unfortunately can only buy so much. Blink will be extra helpful, though. Gets plenty of distance, and that will keep the Gunshow Shogun support alive for the moment. But trading 1 jungle for the jungle and solo of the other side, Kaldrs Good Boys now looking back towards that Fire Giant. And this time, 40.5 minutes in, we will see a pause.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see him, you know, maybe head to that fire immediately.
For now, we just have to experience the technical difficulties and just wait out for a moment. As of right now, though, their support's still 3/4 on HP, and it's a Kuzenbo, so more than tanky enough. Kaldrs Good Boys have 4 people there for this Fire Giant, and Gunshow Shoguns only have 3 alive. They do have, through space and time, for a potential steal, currently have a ward sitting on fire, but it's really going to be up to the timing of can Critter go for the steal, or will the damage and shred from Kaldrs Good Boys be enough? Because right now, Spirit of the Nine Winds is not available. So this, just the secure from Kaldrs Good Boys is going to have to be spot on.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, the good news here is like Maman is not on the board, Osiris is not on the board. Giannis does have the through space and time. Um, However, with the build that Hachi has put up here, you know, they should burn this pretty quick.
They are. As soon as we get out of this pause, already now down to quarter HP. It is falling very fast. Through space and time comes through, but not in time. Kaldrs good boys find the secure. And now Critter caught out, gonna be knocked up, trying to portal away. Will not be in time. Patriot does find a stun, but right now just buying time for his backline to stay alive. Patriot does find the ult onto Grizzle, force him out of position a little bit, but not enough of the follow-up to do much damage. And the Kaldrs good boys, Fire Giant around 4. This time, they finally have what they wanted. Only on 4, compared to 5 previously. But Midbird at half HP, and with Jungle Scrub already doing tons of damage, now with full build, it is still possible for the Gunshow Shoguns to pull off a miraculous defense.
Yeah, and you know, their defense isn't bad. Now, it's not a Kukulkan tornado by any means, but they don't have a bad defense. You know, Osiris can survive for quite some time running at that back line. Cerberus has his ult. You've got the through space and time, the unstable vortex. You've got a defense. You have a defense. You have the ability to make a defense here. And that's what they're going to have to do. Now, 42 minutes into a game, into an entire enemy team with an enhanced fire buff, it's not going to be fun.
It will certainly be a challenging defense. And one thing I'm not too keen on, Critter does have Rod and Obshard on the Giannis. Do you think that's the ideal Giannis build here for this defense?
Well, you know, Giannis is going to get 20% inherent pin in his kit. So you are overcapping it a little bit here. You know, but if you are going to overcap it, I would have probably went with the Staff of Mirrodin.
Blinking from Patriot going in to start it off. Gonna force Captain to pop the ult very early, but so far it's just supports trading that ultimate. And so far the blink from the Gunshow Shogun's support. Their ADC though falling a little bit low, down to half HP about. And Kaldrs good boys still sitting nice and healthy with just about everything available to them. It's gonna be up to Captain to go ahead, start in on the Phoenix. Grizzle getting in very active. Twig going for some damage. It will fall very quickly, but Twig dies very quickly to Ice Cream. ISO finding a lot of damage, forces out the Aegis, catches the dash out. Jungle Scrub already down. ISO has the kill. Here comes the boulder trying to buy some time. Scooby Daddy trying to run away from not a big deal, but won't be able to get away. Thorns for some extra damage. Spears 9 wins, finds 2 on the knockup, and ISO has the damage. Forced into the alternate timeline. Fried Ice Cream picks up another. ISO has the double kill, and it's just the Captain left alive against 4. Trying to run away, does evade the Stygian Torment. Trying to run away, but ISO is on the chase, but slowed heavily. Captain trying to run away and buy whatever time they can. But Gunshow Shogun's not quite falling for it. They know exactly where they're looking. They want to drop some birds, but without minions pushed up very much, and especially since they did lose that left side Phoenix, it's going to be a little bit slower than they would like.
I'm wondering if Churn and Maman plan to tank this Phoenix here. Okay. All right. I thought we had some cookery going on for a second there. Not quite. They do
Most
have a
certainly
wave
would have been a culinary invention without a tank there, especially against the Kuzenbo, who's known for fighting those ADCs. But now, with their support here, they're going to be active on that Phoenix, trying to find the damage. But Twig will find Ice around the back with Hovering Death, and now that will be 2 for Twig, as Patriot follows on the siege as well, coming back with vengeance. Twig looking for a third, going to force the beads out of Fried Ice Cream, but does get stunned out by not a big deal. Drops Lord of the Afterlife to find the root to slow down Captain, basically trading out Big Deal's life for his ADC. Through space and time, not quite going to be in time to save his life or find a kill. And unfortunately,
This could be all she
off
wrote.
the mark. Yeah, Kaldrs good boys now 5 strong, charging up the jungle there by mid lane, looking to try and pick out the Giannis. Saying no, he doesn't have through space and time.
Giannis,
Catching
get
away
out
from
of
the wall.
there.
Here comes Twig. Twig has now
no.
found 3 of the 4 kills, and there's only 1 left alive. Fried Ice Cream is alone on this defense. The base cracked wide open. Kaldrs good boys is going to get rid of that mid bird. finally tearing it back down before they step into the throne room. And the fight is on. Titan already being challenged, dropping a lot of damage. Captain's taking some of it too, but Titan are down half. Here comes Spirit of the Nine Winds, and that will be all they need. Kaldrs Good Boys will take game number 1 in 45 minutes and 53 seconds.
Man.
What an exciting way to kick it off. That was a neck and neck race for so long. And throughout all of that time, there is one thing that stands out amongst everything else. It's
I'm going
not
to
a
take a
stat
stab in
line.
the dark here and say that you're talking about the Kukulkan, Khan, who is a solid 30,000 damage above anyone else in the lobby.
You would be right on the money. Scooby Daddy Doo going 4, 4, and 10, but with 68,000 player damage. I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume I know what might possibly be one of the bands going into game number 2.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Like, somebody puts out numbers like that on a god. You do not let them play that god. It's pretty simple. If somebody's dropping 60K on a god, just don't let them play it. You either ban it or you take it from them.
Yeah, and while the kills may not have been the most impressive in the lobby, Thanatos dropping 13, by the way, Scooby Daddy Doo certainly put in more than enough damage to cover 2 people in this game, and it goes without saying that, if nothing else, was a game-changing number. All of that effort from Gunshow Shoguns, all of the fights that they played really well, all the times Jungle Scrub just gets domed by Through Space and Time, it did not matter enough. And for game number 1, we will see a very solid start for the mid laner on the side of Calder's Good Boys. And you've definitely seen quite a bit of damage from the mid, but that's not to say the other mid didn't do any. Get that critter dropping 32,000, going 1, 5, and 17. Kill participation was there. Help for the team was definitely on board. It's just really hard to say you did that much when your opponent drops 68,000 damage.
Yeah, and that I think is just a lot due to how strong the god is right now. Not to take anything away from Scooby's performance, but with the build he's running there and the passive on Kukulkan, you're sitting, I want to say, with Book of Thoth, Soul Reaver, and Polynomicon, you should be sitting somewhere around 95 extra power. That's just going for free into every ability you throw. And that's what I was talking about, at the start, the mages that have this inherent power in their kits. And that's what you get.
And it really was an impactful amount of extra power. All that extra damage really coming in clutch. All those times that we saw 4 deaths on the side of Calder's Good Boys, and it's just Scooby left alive holding the line. And Gunshow Shoguns could not take a tower from him. Scooby was just a wall standing in front of them. And even all that damage, you also got to show appreciation for the peel that Captain was providing. Even if Kuzenbo isn't the best tank in the world, the captain was really making an effort to put his name up there on that board. Really just a big showing. 95,000 mitigated. That's way more damage than even your own mid laner was dropping. That is truly an impressive feat.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot. And Kuzin has always been hard to kill. Um, And Twig was doing a great job of securing and cleaning up the kills. That's one of the reasons that I enjoy playing comp so much. The coordination of it, and Scooby's putting out this 68,000 damage. He's only getting 4 kills, and his jungler is the one getting in and securing them. Just a really solid performance from the good boys all around.
We also saw some really great efforts coming out of the Gunshow Shoguns. Multiple times did they find either a near or complete team wipe. So they have the potential to make those plays. They saw some gold leads. They just didn't find it in game number 1 well enough. We'll just have to see what adjustments will they make in game number 2. But for now, we're just going to have to take a brief little break. And we're bringing the action right back to you here shortly. So don't go far. Welcome back, everybody. It is time. Game number 2 between the Gunshow Shoguns, which you will now see on the blue side of the map, on the order side, and on the chaos side, you will now be seeing Kaldrs Good Boys. Switching sides from game number 1, we saw the victory go to Kaldrs Good Boys, so this time around, it's going to be up to the Gunshow Shoguns to really show their force. They're going to start it out with a couple of jungle bands to try and slow down the game. I'll be your host for this, Jiren Lem, once again joined by Zombie Tantalus. I'm glad you could be here today.
I am glad to be here today. I was kind of looking to cast today. I've just been at home all day, and now we get to watch some comp smite, and I get to cast at the same time. It's a good day.
And this game that we get to cast, game number 1 was an absolute banger, going almost 46 minutes. What a way to start off a set with a game that neck and neck. It really was back and forth, multiple points. It really is just an exciting matchup, and already seen some slight adjustments. Gunshow Shogun's banning out that Thanatos and the Kukulkan, Khan, whereas we see Kaldrs Good Boys get rid of, once again, the Honor, but also the Maman Brigitte. They are tired of dealing with that and decided they'd rather see something else.
Yeah, I do like the Shoguns getting rid of that Kukulkan. Um, after what
Athena.
it did in the game before, if their mid isn't comfortable on that pick, at some point you've got to say to hell with that. You're not playing this again.
Especially after the damage numbers that we saw come out of that Kukulkan, Khan, it definitely makes sense why they just
Nike.
immediately decide, no. It is nice to see, though, they're going to be switching up the support already, going for the Athena pick. Athena, once again, continuing to be such a prevalent pick in that support role. The ability to taunt somebody and really just ruin their day with the help of your team. Not to mention, Defender of Olympus,
Hachiman.
such a versatile and impactful ability. It makes sense why they want to go for that first. But on the top 2 for the side of Kaldrs Good Boys, talk to me a little bit about why you think they wanted those 2 first.
Well, you know, Scrub played the Hachi in the last game, and performed well. Didn't put up the damage numbers of Kukulkan, but he performed well. The god is extraordinarily strong right now. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
I agree completely. Even
You
if,
know,
like you said, it's not reaching the numbers that we saw Kukulkan dropping, which were very impressive to say the least, it's really not to take away from the fact that Hachiman is really just a solid character all around. You're talking last game
Morgan
how
Le
big
Fay.
Hachiman is, with the ability can really put out a lot of numbers. Having the attack speed stim in the kit, not quite as heavy on the CC, but the CC immunity is also fine. Looking at the responses though from the Gunshow Shoguns, I'm
Vomit.
seeing a couple of very interesting characters come on my screen here. What are you thinking that they're looking for with those?
uh, I think what they're looking for is to wake up this morning and choose violence. Uh, Athena, great pick all around. Super sustainable CC, good dash, good escape, decent clear, great ult. Morgan Le Fay, very solid, not great by any means because uh, aside from that passive, she doesn't have any like static
Proof.
power boost in kit. So she's not going to hit quite as hard as some of the other mages, but still very solid. The Vamana is the one that interests me. Uh, Vamana, I don't know if any of you have played against him or played him in this most recent patch, but he's back to being a monstrosity.
Especially if Amana can get that lead, once you have that Axe of Animosity online, your damage potential just goes through the roof. And it really is just terrifying seeing this giant monstrosity, like you said, just walking you down, dealing damage, healing all of it right back, and then getting shields for it. The amount of
Well, and
CC just on the first three picks here from the Gunshow Shoguns is starting to tell a story for me.
not even to mention, um, let's go to the spectral that we assume is going to have to be built, the berserkers that he's going to build. He gets free power for having those physical defense items on top of that. Uh, the god is cracked right now. Sobek, I am a fan. I am a big
Sobek.
fan. We love the Sobek pick.
The crocodile comes into play. Sobek, very aggressive, looking for those plucks to try and get somebody out of position. Really, just such a famous ability for the character. Not to mention, Sobek is also very, very good at just surviving through a lot of things. And when you've got somebody like that Hachiman on Jungle Scrub, both going to Scooby Daddy Doo, you have the potential to really just punch in the damage from a distance. So when you've got Sobek and Nike as your tanks to make a lot of space, you can buy so much time for that backline. I'm already really liking what Kaldrs Good Boys are trying to put up. To be fair, Gunshow Shoguns has a very interesting draft, and if they can pull off these CC chains, I there is just not enough beads in the world to save
Reditusker.
you.
No, and that's really where the problem comes into
Jingwei.
playing against Athena is like post 20 minutes, a taunt that you don't have beads for or an ult is death. You're in a comp scenario here where everybody's in comms. Athena is going to be like, all right, I've got my taunt in two. We're taunting so and so. And, if you're post 20, 25 minutes into the game, whatever she taunted, if it didn't beads it, it is dead. And it comes up every 10, 11 seconds with some CDR. Uh, the ability is obnoxious.
Bots.
Although, speaking of obnoxious abilities, Hunbat's ult.
Truly an ability of all time. Such a big area of effect ability, even if it is on a massive cooldown early game. By the time it hits late and you got that CDR online, if you don't have that beads available, CC immune ability, try and evade it, that is going to be very, very annoying to try and deal with. And Twig was already performing very with the Thanatos. Just getting the CC to see the Hunbots come out, this looks already to be a great game. I also want to point your attention towards the final two picks on the side of Gunshow Shoguns, Jingwei and Ratatoskr. Talk to me a little bit on what you see coming out of those.
So, the Ratatasker has the semi global pressure. He's got prot shred, he's got a stun, he's got a dash. Rat's a very solid pick right now out of the jungle. Um, Jingwei, now that the abomination that is that Deathbringer glyph is in the game, uh, uh, Jingwei is once again really good. Her early clear suffers a bit, but the really nice thing about Jingwei is like even if you get ganked off repeat and die 4 times before the 10-minute mark's up, you get back to lane so fast that you are losing very little for it. It is extremely difficult to gank and keep a Jingwei down. So, you can look for him almost regardless of the map state to be pretty close to on par.
Yeah, what's really stand out to me is the fact that you've got a global and a semi-global ultimate on the same team and nothing on the other side. It doesn't matter what team it is or what the advantage is. In this case, Kaldrs Good Boys having one game up in a best of three. That is always going to be terrifying to be playing against. And right now, I'm a fan of the Gunshow Shogun's draft. If they can pull this off, that is just going to be so terrifying. You get hit with even a slow, and I'd be wanting to hit the beats button right away.
Yeah, I mean, fighting into Vamana is a dubious proposition at best. Just period. It's difficult to do, he's hard to kill, but you add something like Defender of Olympus into that mix and the 20-25 minute mark, Vamana's diving that back line. He doesn't die.
He Vamana is one of those characters where it's either just 0-10 or 20-0. And right now, with a team like this, having that rat able to rotate over to solo if you need it to try and get those really quick ganks off, I'm really a fan of it right now.
Yeah,
But
I do really like their draft.
so far though, not a big deal. Has had a little bit of trouble in the early game, at least from game number one. We'll just have to see how will a different story play out in game number two. They've already made some very solid adjustments, and this time their draft is looking absolutely terrifying if they're ready to pull it off. But there's only one way to find out. It is time for game number two. It is time to get this bread.
Yeah, pretty standard starts coming out all across. Um, Now, something that I'm saying, both of these mid laners and jungles, they've elected to go immediately to the wave. I've been seeing mid laners going with the jungle back to that speed buff and then heading to mid lane. I've seen a lot of different things done. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how it fleshes out through the rest of the season.
It seems the more popular is going to be the mid laner going straight from the double camp to mid wave. As we see a nice double taunt coming out from Patriot. A good pluck from Captain to put him out of position, but Athena's still going to be nice and tanky in the early game. Though it's going to have to be careful. The rat is here. Finds a little bit of damage, but gotta watch out though. Hunbats is still level 2, so are you. So you gotta be careful. There can be no monkeying around when you've got that much CC on the other team. But they will survive. They will not drop first blood this early. And for now, Kaldrs Good Boys once again going to be finding themselves with that duo pressure as Patriot gets plucked back once again. No dash from Jungle Scrub, just going to hold on to it as the Captain drops a little bit more damage on a Patriot. But the rat is here to try and make sure that there's nothing funny going on, keeping them safe. as the dual lane tries to survive a little bit longer. The captain doesn't quite find the pluck. That dash will be down for a little bit longer, but without level 3, Gunshow Shogun's at a slight disadvantage for a moment more. Catching the dash, Jungle Scrub does find a nice stun, but a nice double dash coming out from Gunshow Shoguns. The taunt will only be at tower line, and it's up to the Hun Bats to try and make a rotation over.
Yeah, heads up play there from Hachi to hang on to his beads. You know, when you've got something like an Athena and a rat chasing you, it can be difficult not to you know, panic press that button, because that is a lot of CC. Good on him for hanging on to the beads, knowing they didn't have the kill potential on him there.
Yeah, sometimes that fine line difference between hesitation and more or less trigger discipline, it can be very, very hard to toe that line. That was a great heads-up play from Jungle Scrub. Just being patient, waiting for the right time, and just trusting in not only himself but the team to play the way that they need to. So far, I'm seeing some really, really good cooperation from the side of Kaldrs Good Boys.
Yeah, you know, I always tend to be on the opposite side of that spectrum. I am way too ballsy about hanging on to my beads, and I've spent a lot of time in matches going, yeah, I didn't think I needed to bead Zagus. Turns out, whoops. Yeah, so far, we've got no first blood. Shoguns have about a 400 or 500 gold lead, but like at this phase of the game, it's negligible. Both sides playing pretty close here. You know, nobody really low other than Athena, but right now they are just farming.
So far, not even 4 minutes in, farm is really just more important than ganks. Overall, you'll see the occasional low health bar, but as of right now, it's just everybody trying to get those abilities online, hit level 5. Once you get those first items, that's when you really start to see a lot of health bars go down much quicker, having not only just the raw power or the defense from those items, get online, especially somebody like Hunbots, having that 20% CDR from you, we could see a lot more aggression, just like Patriot is over in the dual lane, but Captain's already gone lurking in the waters. The knockup will find some extra time. They will end up stealing away that prod camp. Twig does find the first blood on to ISO over in the mid lane, and Fry will actually be forced to pop the beads. Scooby does still hold on to the ult, so that's going to be an option later on if they can find some good CC. Jungle Scrub picks up Patriot on the left side, though. Get that critter falling extremely low as well with no mana. Kaldrs Good Boys off to a great start after that.
Yeah, you know, you really one of the things that I really liked about this new patch, you know, the way that they redid the stacking items, the way that they're stacked. I like how they did it.
Through the
so
Cosmos,
much.
Jungle Scrub does get knocked up. The beads will be good to try and prevent anything, but the slow is going to be coming out from ISO to try and find some extra time. Dashing from Athena, Patriot will find the taunt and the kill. Jungle Scrub will be going down underneath his own tower. No ult available at the time to save him. So unfortunately, all that safety of Hachiman right out the door when you have two global.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing about that Athena taunt, man. It's gonna get you sooner or later. You can, not even with the beads and a bubble are you going to be able to stop that consistently enough. So, you know, at that point as a carry, you've just really got to be mindful of your positioning, which, when you're playing into a global and a semi-global, sometimes that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, in this case, even if Jungle Scrub was only halfway up the lane, not necessarily out of position, but against a global ultimate like the Rat, unless you're already sitting underneath your tower, anywhere can very quickly become out of position if you're
Yeah.
not already on top of it.
Absolutely. You know, that's what makes those abilities so difficult to play into. You know, the Athena, the Rat, the Apollo, Thor, Chernobog. It's just like no matter where you are on the map, they can usually get there. And with the changes to the stacking items now, like I was talking about a minute ago, combat is encouraged.
We
It's
see
no
a
longer
horrific.
the AFK farm. Sorry.
Yeah,
My
we
bad.
see Horrific being popped by Patriot over in the solo lane as a big fight breaking out over the totem. Gonna be dropping Sentinel of Zeus already. Grizzle getting very aggressive. Good Athena taunt to buy some time. Here comes the Colossal Fury, though. Big Baby is angry, and it looks like Kaldrs good boys are not interested in that. You go ahead, back off. Let the timer just expire. But here comes looking into the waters. Try and find a slow. Grizzle does have quite a fair amount of damage, but the captain not going to be able to find too much here, only forcing them back under tower. And at least the hype of Totem continues to live on.
That was one of the more memorable things I've seen in Worlds. Hang on, we
Here
got
comes
through the
the
Cosmos.
Cosmos coming in, looking for the right time, drops in on top of the Tunt, does get knocked up by the Sobek, but trying to find the Protched, not quite able to find the kill. ISO taking a tower shot as Grizzle still barely lives, and a Pluck trying to find one more tower shot, falls in very low, but not a big deal at all. Falling down to just double-digit HP will keep their life. That
So close.
very close call.
So close for both of them, really. You know, Nike got away with the highway robbery too. Both health bars there, just at the tip of low.
Just barely, just one little hair away from falling, but Kaldrs good boys barely keep alive. They do have to burn the relics, and the late beams from Fried puts them in a dangerous position, but not quite able to find the follow-up from Scooby-Doo. Trying to look for the root under tower, but not going to be able to find it just yet. ISO and Patriot here to try and relieve some of that pressure in the mid lane. But now that they're there, the presence is enough to convince Kaldrs good boys to back up, and Gunshow Shoguns can go right back to farming.
Yeah, and you know that's kind of the name of the game here, almost for both teams. Toth, Morgan Le Fay, Hachi, Jing, they're all late game. That's what you're playing for here.
Very aggressive Horrific coming out, but here comes Fear No Evil, but the unfortunate teleport will not matter. Twig still finds the kill onto Fried Ice Cream, but a beautiful double taunt from Patriot. Buys some extra time. ISO going up into the trees, trying to find it, but a nice up down straight back from Twig. Scooby Doo picks up ISO with a final judgment. Now be the last time he makes that mistake. Patriot now getting plucked back in, trying to run away to the safety of jungle, but does get rooted by Scooby Doo trying to run away. Good taunt onto Twig to buy some time, with the captain running around, finds them there, but not the pluck, but the damage from the overhead swing from Twig will be good, and a killing spree. No monkeying around from Twig this time.
No, he's putting on a great performance on the Hun Bats so far. You know, also great damage coming out of your Toth there. Toth's early to mid game is better than a lot of gods at the position. He gets free power, or not power, excuse me. He gets free flat pin out of his passive, so that first item, Divine, on top of passive, you know, he's hitting the squishies for near true damage at this point.
And especially when you can get some early kills or early assists, somebody like that Toth is going to be feeling really, really good. Patriot rotating over with Defender of Olympus to the solo, but Grizzle's still full HP and Totem not available. That's going to be a valuable resource burned by the Gunshow Shoguns very early. And especially with their ADC not having that Executioner second item this time around, their ability to pull a Gold Fury early, they're going to need a lot of extra time. Aside from that, though, Patriot's still looking to get aggressive over in the duel lane. ISO in the area, but Twig already dealt quite a fair amount of damage. Looks like they're going to back off for now. That gives me time to ask a question. We've seen the first item come out, second items either being finished or about to be finished. What do you see on the builds? Anything that's really catching your eye?
No, nothing particularly at the moment. I've got to I will be right back.
To me,
Sorry.
I think the only thing I think that's slightly out of the norm, normally I would expect an Athena to be dropping something like that Pride Win as a second item, or even a breastplate, which we may see, since they do still have that tier 2. But I like to see a lot of early cooldown on the Athena, especially since Athena is now down 2 levels on the enemy support. And with Kaldrs Good Boys having a full 1,000 gold lead, Gunshow Shogun's looking to take an early beacon, but the captain comes in lurking in the waters to try and slow it down, waiting for the team to come around. But ISO and Not a Big Deal are here, and unfortunately the captain can only buy so much time on his own. Beacon will go to the Gunshow Shoguns for the first round. Fortunately, though, Kaldrs Good Boys still around, still healthy enough to prevent them looking for a Gold Fury, but that's not going to stop Petra from dashing in, finding a double taunt, plucked back on the tower, takes some extra damage, quite a fair amount of poke. Both looking to find some return damage, but not quite able to find it. Up through the Cosmos, going to force Jungle Scrub into the mounted archery very, very early, but not going to be looking for it any further. Jungle Scrub will be going back, and it looks like everybody will return back to their farming tendencies. And Gunshow Shoguns, with looks like 7 or 8 wards around the Gold Fury. If I had to take a guess, I'd say they very, very much want that objective. For now, however, Kaldrs Good Boys still healthy, still in their presence, will prevent them from going for it. Final Judgment not quite on the mark, but a very solid scare tactic from Scooby-Doo will just keep them on their toes.
And I am joining us once again. My apologies, folks. So far so good. 14 minutes in, less than 1,000 gold difference between the teams. Morgan did commit the ult there, but I don't think anything should come of it. Their health bars are pretty solid. Gold's
Especially with
close.
the jungle blinking in. Fear no evil, gonna force the bees out of Get No Critter, but no. You will not be able to get away this time. Quite a fair amount of damage already from Twig. Only level 14, 14 minutes in. 4-0-1, and that is a very, very high damage output already. Trying to slow down the assault on the tier 1 tower and left. Here comes through the Cosmos though, Rat jumping in, finds the damage. Gets quite a fair amount on the Jungle Scrub, forcing out the Aegis though, able to dash away before taking too much return damage. As Captain trying to slow them down with lurking in the waters. A nice taunt, but the Captain will be stunned out. Here comes Not a Big Deal around the teleporter, forcing out the mounted archery from Jungle Scrub. Gonna find a fair amount of damage. Twig falling very low, about quarter HP now. Here comes the teleport from the Grizzle, trying to get in time to help the team, but taunted very quickly. Not gonna be able to do too much. Good to find some slows, jumping on Patriot. Looks like they're looking at this Athena. Sentinel of Zeus coming out very early to try and find it. Jungle Scrub finds a stun, finds the kill. Patriot now down. Not a Big Deal, left alone. Nobody else in the area to help just yet. And with Athena still 20 seconds away, ultimate not even online just yet. Gotta watch out. Here comes the Final Judgment being charged, but it's just a threat, not a big deal. Leaving the area immediately. Tier 1 tower on the left will fall. And Kaldrs Good Boys have their eyes on the Gold Fury next.
Yeah, Vamana can't really contest that Toth right now. You know, the only item he's got online for Prots is Phalanx and the start of a Berserker Shield. He has no magical protection. That Toth will blow him up.
And just like the protections on the Vamana, the Gold Fury will not be there either. So this time, Kaldrs Good Boys is going to be off to a very nice start. Looking to push the gold lead up to about 2,000 now. Even if the Gunshow Shoguns are getting some damage, they're getting some good returns, but unfortunately, it's not going to be against this team. Kaldrs Good Boys just playing together too well to allow any of those simple mistakes. And Gunshow Shoguns, the time is starting to tick. We saw how well they did late game last game. How do you think they can really turn this one around so far?
Well, you know, so far, they've kept the gold relatively close, even being down kills. Their farming is still really good. In situations like this, do we get taunted? No, okay.
Does get taunted. takes a little bit of damage, forces out the consuming power from Fried Ice Cream, but here comes the Blink, Fear No Evil, already forcing the beast. Final Judgment being hovered, not quite on the mark, does force the Aegis out of Fried Ice Cream, but trying to get it. Jungle Scrub will find it, but here comes Through the Cosmos, beats Aegis forced out of Scooby Daddy Doo, but ISO still finds it anyway. But here comes the slows, lurking in the waters. Patriot trying to buy some extra time. Defender of Olympus already out. The captain gets stunned under the tower. Finds the pluck onto Patriot, but taking a lot of damage from tower. Twig finds the kill on the Patriot. Now on a rampage, looking for one more. Double kill. Twig has found ISO underneath the tier 2 tower. And it is disaster for the Gunshow Shoguns in mid.
Yeah, I'd like to see him, get this beacon, the pyro here. That's one of the things you have to think about when you're playing is like kills by themselves are almost meaningless. There's so many catch-up mechanics in the game these days. So if you're getting kills, if you're getting ganks, rotations, you've always got to be thinking, what are we getting out of it? What are we getting next? We get this kill, what do we get? They've got the last 3 kills. What did they get? They got a tower, they got a gold, they got a beacon. And we're starting to see the gold lead grow. Shogun's still only... they're only about 2k down. Not even, I don't think. Maybe 1700. They are stemming the bleeding really well.
Yeah, for the difference in the kills board, 2 on the side of Gunshow Shoguns to 10 on Kaldrs Good Boys, the gold lead only being around 1500 right now is a completely different story from that other number up there. But Patriot trying to turn around. Scooby Daddy Doo gets taunted right back in. A lot of damage and good CC from Fried Ice Cream. Consuming power will be good, and that will be a beautiful kill for the mid laner of Gunshow Shoguns. ISO did not even need to go into that Through the Cosmos, but now Pyromancer will be on the board while Kaldrs Good Boys try and keep up the pressure on the left side of the map. Not able to do so with Critters standing guard on the tower. So unfortunately, Kaldrs Good Boys are going to lose a kill and lose that objective, dropping the gold difference of both sides to not even 500. And just like that, it is completely...
Yeah, Shoguns are farming super well. I keep saying it, but, they really are. They're farming very, very well. You mentioned a minute ago the, story that the kill count there tells is a lot different than the one that's actually on the paper. Shoguns have stemmed the bleeding and are now in the lead.
Yeah, Gunshow Shoguns, even if they don't have all of the kills, they may not have every advantage, but their ability to farm has just been spectacular throughout both of these games. And for every advantage Kaldrs Good Boys get, or try to go for in the first place, Gunshow Shoguns may not have every answer, but they have just enough to still keep in this fight. And throughout both of these games, it's been very, very even this entire time. Even 20 minutes, Kaldrs Good Boys looking to try and pull the Gold Fury. Twig blinking in, trying to find a kill on to get that critter, able to dash away. Fear No Evil going to be completely off the mark. Through the Cosmos down for ISO, though. And they will be a bit of an exchange of ultimates. Gunshow Shoguns looking worse for wear on that end, as now they try and unleash the Gold Fury once again, trying to take it up, drop it again. Gunshow Shoguns in the presence, they're going to have to go for the fight or risk getting wiped, and they go in, finding Fried Ice Cream. Twig now 7 kills, and Sentinel of Zeus coming out from Grizzle, trying to find some extra space and damage. Scooby will try and find a kill with Final Judgment, not going to find the kill just yet. Grizzle find a lot of damage on to get that critter, trying to run away. Twig goes back in with the monkey. Going to teleport back as Patriot falls very low, going down to the captain and lurking in the waters as Twig falls extremely low, trying to run away from Big Deal and ISO, but here comes the Soul Laner to do it. Jungle Scrub goes in with mounted archery, and here comes the big baby delivering his wrath. You may have taken 3 of his teammates, but that does not mean he's out. He's definitely dealing quite a fair amount of damage and healing some of it in return. That's still 4 members of Kaldrs Good Boys, and not a big deal. Gonna have to respect the damage that they have.
Yeah, one thing that the Shoguns are gonna have to do here They're going to have to either fight and try and steal these objectives like they just did, or, you know, you can't 50-50 in this comp either. Morgan's Secure is nowhere near Toth at all. So, you know, Shoguns are going to have to kind of play reactively to the Kaldrs' pulls on these objectives, and unfortunately right there, it didn't go well for them.
Yeah, especially when you have something like that final judgment. Kaldrs Good Boys have very strong secure. Not to mention, they can still drop Fear No Evil. Even if it's a 50-50, the ability to just taunt somebody away from it or fear them away from it really buys you that extra time. Lurking in the waters from the Sobek, even if it's on the support, that's still respectable damage. You have the ability to try and steal it away. The Gunshow Shoguns, like you said, don't have that big single damage burst ability. So even if you're in a sticky situation, like looking at the Kaldrs Good Boys trying to pull the Fire Giant, you're going to have to rotate over, sitting in the trees, looking to try and find some damage. Baits out beautifully the Fear No Evil from Twig. Twig forced to beads as well. Now the Kaldrs Good Boys are going to have to be very careful. Gunshow Shoguns taking a fair amount of damage in return for it, though, but not before they can return some of it back. Here comes Captain lurking in the water, slowing Patriot down, dashing in, trying to find a pick onto this level 14 Athena. Iso does get plucked back. Final Judgment will be good. Patriot goes down for one. Meanwhile, get that critter split pushing over on the left side, trying to take down that tower while the team is fighting in mid. The consuming power will be dropped already and plucked back in. Bright Ice Cream falling very low. Beads Age is not good enough to save you. Beast will get that get credit for that one. Not a big deal. Does find Grizzle on the return. Tier 2 tower has already gone down, and now the Jinwei is looking at the bird. Mid Tier 2 tower will still fall. None of the members are backing just yet. Kaldrs going to send Twig all the way back to try and defend that Phoenix. Already taking some damage, though. And with the wave on the way, get that crit is going to have to be careful, because Twig has arrived. Ultimate not available just yet. It's not a risk they're going to be willing to take, while the rest of Kaldrs Good Boys look at Pyromancer. Jungle Scrub and Decap will be just enough to do it on their own, but Scooby Daddy do falling very low as Iso tries to get in there, does find the kill. That'll be a nice pick for the Gunshow Shoguns, even if they do lose the Pyromancer.
You know, this gold differential is just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable right now. You know, Kaldrs Good Boys have 10 kills over the Shoguns. They just got a T2, they got Pyro, and it's like a 800-900 differential. The Shoguns are farming.
Yeah, they have 2 Gold Furies, a Pyromancer, and after all these kills that they've gotten on the board above the Gunshow Shoguns, Kaldrs Good Boys, their gold lead, realistically, doesn't really mean anything right now. If it's not even 1,000, it's not that noteworthy. So
Yeah,
for the
I mean,
Gunshow
you're
Shoguns,
talking 150 per player. That doesn't even get you a T1.
and since we don't see a massive 3-level lead only in support, it's really not that scary of a difference. So Gunshow Shoguns really keeping themselves in. This is such an even fight for them to be in. And we love to talk about how good they are at farming, but this cannot be understated when you've got that stark of a difference in something like the kills board and the objectives that you've taken. It cannot be overstated just how important this is for Gunshow Shoguns to still be getting aggressive like this. Patriot going in on Jungle Scrub, forcing the Aegis. Iso going up, already forced out of that mounted archery. Jungle Scrub is just a sitting duck, forces the beads out early, waiting for the stun, but here comes the Soul Laner to kill Iso. Jungle Scrub gets that one, and now it's a retreat from the Gunshow Shoguns. They're down 1 member, and all of those ultimates still available for the Kaldrs Good Boys. They have plenty of presence now. Gunshow Shoguns gotta be careful. Mid Tier 2 tower already gone. Solo side, Tier 1 looking very low with 5 members strong looking at it. It's possible they just peel off and go back to Fire Giant. Looks like that's exactly what they're going to be looking for here. Gunshow Shogun's not willing to give it up. Find a taunt onto Grizzle. trying to find some return damage, but Grizzle's just going to jump right in, try and deal some of that damage right back. Fried Ice Cream going to be taking a fair amount of it. Critter already gone! Not a big deal, trying to survive now. As Sentinel Zeus comes out for the slow. Scooby-Daddy-Doo picks up another one. Patriot falling very low. Fear no evil will be good. Jungle Scrub on the rampage now. Twig dashing in, forces the beads, and ages out of Fried Ice Cream. But Grizzle not willing to let them back without a fight. All the way to Phoenix, they're getting pushed. But the Kaldrs Good Boys falling very low on that HP. Going to take that tier 2 tower. They're going to have to retreat soon before they can do that. Fire Giant ISO still has ult back up. And if they don't get out of there soon, they could find themselves in a very sticky situation.
Yeah, I would bring your attention to the ADC builds right now. Hachi's build, we've got the Rage stacked, Dominance, Xe, he's working on that Deathbringer. He is swinging. I'm not entirely sure what to think about the Boomerang and Malicious Deathbringer I'm seeing over on the other side here.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that's going to be a fail not from the Jingwei. At least I am hoping it's not going to be a Pride win. But it looks to me like Jingwei just really, really wants those cooldowns. As much as Kaldrs Good Boys want this Fire Giant right now, already down to half HP. Here comes Jungle Scrub, doing quite a fair amount of damage to it. Defender of Olympus coming out. Defender of Olympus is ready, but Kaldrs Good Boys don't even need it. They have the final judgment. Twig picks up Fried Ice Cream along with the Fire Giant now. We see Patriot getting plucked all the way to the backline, falling very low, trying to escape. Beast picks up, not a big deal. Twig looking for Patriot, trying to find it, but does manage to get the dash away. And 2 down, 2 very low for Gunshow Shoguns, trying to run away, but Twig gets picked up! Get that critter, shuts him down quickly, and the crit is online for Jingwei. And I guess that's exactly what they've been waiting for that Hydra's Deathbringer proc. And Twig, for all that chase, just gets absolutely and irrevocably deleted. Now the mid-bird on their sights. Kaldrs Good Boys trying to find some extra damage onto it, but being held back very efficiently. Patriot buying plenty of time with those taunts. Taking a fair amount of damage though. Rat going up into the air. Gotta watch out for those branches above your head. Looking for Scooby-Daddy-Doo in the back. Just buying some time. Forces him out of Bird. Decides to land back in safety. Bird is still quite healthy as once again Kaldrs Good Boys trying to dash in. Grizzle leading that charge, jumping onto the support. And they have more than enough space to take the Bird. And looks like Kaldrs Good Boys are happy with that. They're going to back probably for either the Gold Fury or that Stygian Beacon. Gunshow Shoguns, they may want to chase them out here. They see low HP bar, Athena taunts, and here comes the rest of the team, but Grizzle more than healthy enough. ISO taking a lot of damage, Nike jumping right back in, has the Defender of Olympus, going to pop it. Sentinel of Zeus, excuse me. I'm losing it today. And the damage is still going to be fairly good, though. Gunshow Shoguns will pick up Grizzle for that hubris, but Final Judgment being hovered just as a threat to the Gunshow Shoguns of what might happen if they try and step up to that Gold Fury.
Yeah, you know, Toth still has fire, Hachi still has fire, Sobek still got it. This is still rough to fight into.
Kaldrs Good Boys will secure that Gold Fury, but here comes Ice around the back, looking to try and jump in, but Twig baits it out with a beautifully timed jump. Captain goes in for a pluck, will not find it this time. The rest of the Gunshow Shoguns are looking to try and find some damage, but take quite a bit of it in return. Twig looking to try and step up, but forced to beat and get away. Kaldrs Good Boys gonna have to back off and just accept the Gold Fury as their prize.
Yeah, you know, that beads that has been burned for the Toth and for the rat, or the bats, that's big relics. That is a really big relic to have down right now for the Gunshow Shoguns. That Athena taunt goes nuts here if she can get it into the right spot. And we're at that phase of the game now where it's, you know, like I talked about in the P's and B's, that taunt means death.
Yeah, this is the stage where not having any CC immunity getting close to an Athena is a very risky business. Fire Giant still on 3 for Kaldrs Good Boys, but without those beads, you really gotta hope your defense is gonna be enough. You have quite a fair amount of it on Grizzle and the Captain, but for the other 3 members, you don't have any of that defense, whatever aura from the Captain you get. And with Pyromancer down, looks like Kaldrs Good Boys going to be focusing their efforts on the left side with what remains of their Fire Giant timer. Now, with this advantage, they're just going to keep pressing, and Gunshow Shoguns, they got to start backing now. 2 of them are there, 3 still backing. The mid and solo from Kaldrs Good Boys going to be making their way over, but the Phoenix, it's already gone. ISO trying to get in there in time. The Captain's falling very low, but a beautiful Fear No Evil slows him down. ISO gone. Twig picks up 1. Trying to find some extra damage, but not going to be able to do it. Sentinel of Zeus coming out to buy extra time. So if it goes in for the pluck, slows them down, but still taking quite a fair amount of damage. Gunshow Shogun's got to be careful. Final Judgment, not quite on the mark, but it's still enough to scare the Gunshow Shoguns. Kaldrs Good Boys have taken the Phoenix, the most important one right now. Mid already down. Fire Giant about to respawn, and with all of their members still alive, they have to be able to back here. And that next Fire Giant should be theirs.
Yeah, going to be extremely difficult for the Shoguns to try and defend that fire with the mid bird, the left bird down. That's going to be tough. You know, you pretty much have to choose between, you know, your Titan taking some damage or the opposing team getting enhanced fire, which realistically either choice is a crapshoot.
Yeah, and at this stage in the game, it's EFG. Gunshow Shoguns do not want to risk it very much. They do still have the Athena with Defender of Olympus down for a couple more seconds. Fire Giant now falling just about half. Gunshow Shoguns trying to step up, get there to buy some time, wait for the Athena to be able to get over. It is ready, but Fire Giant already quarter HP coming in is ISO. Kaldrs Good Boys find the secure anyway. They don't even need Final Judgment. Twig finds Fried Ice Cream in the back, and ISO falling very low. Critter falling extremely low, but Twig on the chase finds the double. Now looking for more around the back. A pluck on to the solo laner. Not a big deal. Trying to run away. Juggle Scrub picks up 1, and only 2 left alive. Gunshow Shoguns in absolute disaster right now, trying to escape. Jungle Scrub is just doing too much damage. Twig picks up ISO, and there's just nothing left for them to do. Only the support. It's just Patriot against the world for 30 more seconds. Kaldrs Good Boys with EFG on all 5. Titan Room exposed, and the throne is theirs to claim. Kaldrs Good Boys 34.5 minutes in. Walking in. Patriot already gone. Jungle Scrub takes it. A deicide for the Kaldrs Good Boys, and a Titan down. They have taken it 2-0, and the Gunshow Shoguns be shut out.
What a set.
What a beautiful way to start off their season for the Kaldrs Good Boys. What
Yeah, you can't ask for better than 2-0. It's as good as the record gets.
They definitely are liking their start so far. A lot of damage coming out from the back line. Once again, Scooby Daddy Doo topping the lobby on that damage number. This time, not quite 60,000, but definitely not a lack of effort at all. But the one thing I just cannot help but love, absolutely love, looking at the Captain, 1, 0, and 19 on that Sobek. Participated in 20 of the team's kills. That is something to be admired. As a support, that's really all you can ask for. Just being there for your team, keeping them alive as much as possible. Between the mid and ADC, a collective 4 deaths, this is an absolute stellar game for the entire roster of Kaldrs Good Boys.
Yeah. You know, Shoguns moving into the next couple of weeks here, they've got some good points that they can take from that. You know, like we were talking about in the game, the farming. The farming, they kept up so well. Moving into the next couple of weeks, they need to find them some comps that work for them. Get some scrims in, get some more playtime with each other, and I think their roster is going to be just fine.
They've already displayed beautiful ability to just keep in it, their mental game to stay in these games for as long as they did, keep it so even the entire time. It's not until the final Fire Giant that we really saw an impactful difference in that gold lead. It really is just a testament to their raw skill and capability. Even though this is only week one, that was a beautiful display. And even if they didn't get the win here, Gunshow Shoguns have a solid start to their season, and their capability to grow is just as impressive. And honestly, I think this was a very, very solid set on both sides.
Absolutely, absolutely, it was.
That is still going to be the game, though. They may have played very well, but Gunshow Shoguns, unfortunately, will be the side that goes down in defeat this week. They always have next week, so keep that in mind. There is the possibility for redemption. You'll just have to be on the lookout to see how they end up doing. But at least for now, Calder's Good Boys get plenty of reason to be wagging their tails. A nice 2-0 victory to start it out, and a beautiful way to kick off their season with a very solid team play. That will be week one of the Walker division. I'm really glad you all could join us. That was an amazing set to cast. Absolute banger of a game one. Not to mention, to kick it all off, to start your season like that. I'm I'm so glad I was here. I'm glad you all could watch it with me. I'm glad I was joined here by Zombie Tantalus. I've been your host for tonight, Jiren Lamb. And don't forget to show your love and appreciation for the Wolf Pup. They were on the camera bringing all of these buttons and amazing scenes to you. I really hope you all enjoyed this content, and we will see you all again next week.